Hey there, my name is Ibini Oshibodu Onyali. Most people call me Ivy. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I love to talk about anxiety, insomnia, relationships, and all things therapy. Have you ever thought about going to therapy? Well, today I'm going to talk about the risks and benefits of therapy. Before you panic, before you scream, before you run away, just hold up, okay? It's important that before you decide to go to therapy, you know what the risks are and you also know what the benefits are so that you can weigh the pros and cons and make the right decision for you. Now, I'm not advocating that everybody go to therapy or everybody not go to therapy. Of course, I'm a therapist, so I think therapy is great. But let me just give you a quick rundown of some of the risks and benefits of therapy. All right, let's start with the risks first. Number one, I always say that things typically get worse before they get better. Okay, I love to use this analogy. If you want to plant a fruit tree, you have to dig through the mud first. The only way to get that shiny apple on top of the tree is to first dig through the mud. So sometimes you feel worse before you feel better, but that's the process of growth. It doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes there's crying, sometimes there are feelings of anger, all kinds of things come up in the therapy room. But sometimes you have to wade through these feelings before you get to the other side, okay? In issues of relationships and couples therapy, people always think that couples therapy is supposed to fix the marriage and supposed to fix the relationship, and after therapy, everything's supposed to be hunky-dory. But that's not always the case. Sometimes through the process of therapy, you both decide that you don't want to be in a relationship anymore. Or you decide, I think we want a divorce. Or you decide in the case of premarital counseling, we don't want to get married anymore. So sometimes the process of therapy actually helps you figure out that you don't want to be in a relationship anymore. So that's a risk that you take when you go to therapy. There's also the risk of slow growth. Sometimes you're in therapy for such a long time and you're like, why am I not feeling better? Why am I still crying? Why am I still anxious? Why am I still not sleeping? Why am I still depressed? What's going on? I still have OCD. I'm still thinking about these traumatic memories. The process of therapy is not always quick. It's not always swift. We can't always promise you that things are going to get better in 2 days. Sometimes you come in to talk about things that have been going on in your life for years and years and years. Maybe it's taking you 40 years to get into therapy. It's not going to take 2 days for your issues to get fixed. So be patient. Those are some of the risks. Sometimes there's discomfort because your therapist is going to talk to you about things that you don't want to hear. They're going to talk to you about patterns of behavior that you're not so proud of, or you're going to figure out things about your family that you didn't know. You're going to figure out things about your friends or your kids or your spouse that you didn't know, and it's not always going to feel great. So those are some of the risks that you take when you come to therapy. You open yourself up to a little bit of discomfort. Okay, are you still here? On to the benefits of therapy. Number one, therapy is an opportunity for growth and change. And it's an opportunity for you to become the person that you always wanted to be. It's an opportunity for you to learn new skills and change the way you talk and change the way that you think. In therapy, you can also find a safe sounding board in your therapist. The wonderful thing about meeting with a therapist is a lot of times we don't judge you. We're not there to judge you. We're not there to hurt you. We're not there to insult you. We're there to create a safe space and a safe environment for you to grow. And when you're sitting down in a room with somebody who really sees you, who you can be honest with, it really feels very awesome. Another one of the benefits of therapy is that you gain a deep understanding of yourself and of your environment. You get to understand why you are the way that you are, or maybe in a case of being a highly sensitive person, for example, you begin to realize, I'm not weird, I'm not bad, I'm not crazy. My brain is wired a certain way and that's why I react this way. You begin to understand why you're struggling with anxiety or depression, or why you haven't been sleeping, for example, or why your relationship is a certain way. So it's a great way to truly understand yourself and your environment. Another thing about therapy is that you have the opportunity to start to reduce your negative thoughts, your irrational thoughts, the thoughts that are not serving you well, which is great because when you are able to realize how your thought patterns are and how they're not serving you well, You also learn how to combat those negative thoughts and how to replace them with more positive thoughts. Isn't that great? It's like change your thoughts, change the world. Another thing about therapy that could be a great benefit is that it could potentially strengthen your relationship. So maybe you're coming in for family therapy and you all could really learn how to communicate better. You can learn how to forgive one another. You can learn how to help one another. You can truly learn about each other and how to strengthen that family dynamic. Or in the case of couples therapy, you can really have an opportunity to overcome the pain of infidelity, overcome the pain of loss, or really learn how to come together as a unit and how to reduce the cycle of arguments and fighting and arguing and shedding. So that's pretty great. The last benefit of therapy is that it really can boost your self-confidence. When you're changing your thoughts, when your relationships are getting better, when you're really trying to understand yourself, when you really start to understand your environment and how it affects you, when you have a safe sounding board, when there's somebody who is cheering you on and somebody who's truly understanding you, and a safe space that's non-judgmental, it really can start to make you feel like, you know what, I'm not that bad and my life is going to be great and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So those are the risks and benefits of therapy. If you're considering therapy, I would encourage you to talk to people, talk to some therapists, and take the leap. It could really change your life. That's it for me. I hope you have a great day. If you have questions or comments, you can find me at thezinniapractice.com. Zinnia is ZINNIA practice.com. Have a great day. Bye.